When this handsome fellow accidentally comes to school to look for his dog, all the girls instantly go crazy about him. They can't help but admire how cute he is. The school beauty immediately steps forward to ask for his Insta ID or phone number, whatever he's willing to share. But our guy is completely clueless about what an Insta ID even is. He says he doesn't have anything like that. It's the first time she's ever been rejected, and she gets furious, thinking he's just playing hard to get. Yet our guy doesn't care at all. He just grabs his dog and tries to leave. That's when the top school bully sees him surrounded by girls and gets filled with rage. Why is this unknown loser getting so much attention all of a sudden? So he grabs a soccer ball and kicks it with all his might. The ball flies straight into our boy's face. He takes it like a champ without even dodging. Ignoring the blood from his nose, he's only furious about one thing. The thug almost hurt his dog, and now he has to apologize. But the bully just laughs in response. He invites our boy to have a private chat where the girls can't see them. As soon as they walk past the corner, the bully cowardly kicks him in the back. And there, a whole gang of bullies is waiting. They're ready to properly welcome him with their fists. But first, the main bully warns him not to even dare come near the school beauty again. Our guy just turns around to leave, completely ignoring them. A few guys instantly step in to block his way, and make a grave mistake by scaring his dog. One of them tries to grab the dog, but receives a single punch that knocks him out cold. The other bullies are shocked that he dropped that guy in one hit, so they make the dumbest move possible and attack him all at once. What they don't know is that our boy has a heart of immortality, and he's way too strong and fast for them. So it's no surprise that just a few of his moves are enough to send them flying. The top bully nearly shits his pants and gets cornered by the fence. Our guy delivers a devastating finishing blow, but stops at the last second, cracking the wall above his head instead. All the bullies are terrified and run away as fast as they can from a monster like him. So why is our boy so strong? And why does he love dogs so much, just like John Wick? It all started a while ago. A pair of street thugs ganged up on him, trying to drag him down. But he bulldozed his way toward the high-voltage distribution board and yanked out a bunch of deeply rooted wires. The massive current running through those cables caught up to our boy, electrocuting him to death alongside the thugs who were holding him back. The electricity burned all three of them to a crisp, but only our boy survived to see another day. Even though the blast stripped his entire body of its flesh, he still managed to come back to life. The boy literally resurrected from the dead. Well, he wasn't called the Resurrection Boy for nothing. You see, in this special world, a select few humans possess special hearts. It's a rare mutation that blesses only a handful of people. These mutated hearts allow their wielders to use extraordinary abilities that completely defy common sense. Naturally, those who possessed these abilities were dubbed heart mutants. To some, a mutated heart was something to covet, a blessing from God granted only to a privileged few. But for our boy, that same blessing descended as a curse when he was conferred with the heart of resurrection. Every time he dies, his heart brings him back to life and slowly starts recovering his body. For an entire decade, they confined him to a laboratory, subjecting him to unimaginable torture. They forced him to ingest lethal poisons and systematically severed his limbs. Yet no matter the atrocity, the boy's unique heart forced his body to resurrect. One fateful day, he finally managed to escape. However, the decade of relentless agony had taken its toll. He now wandered the world looking like a living corpse. Because of his appearance, he retreats to a local dump site and starts hunting for edible food to help replenish his body. He finds a piece of rotting bread that still seems somewhat edible, so he begins devouring it. He might look terrifying on the outside, but he is incredibly benevolent on the inside. Spotting a hungry puppy begging for a bite, he decides to share his meal rather than keeping it all to himself. Thanks to this kindness, he soon has a whole pack of four-legged admirers surrounding him. All of a sudden, he hears a commotion. Peeking from a safe distance, he finds a few thugs harassing a high school girl. Those creeps are clearly up to no good, trying their hardest to corner her. The poor girl tries to reason with them, pleading that she is just an underage student. But these absolute degenerate disciples of Epstein don't care. All they want is their next victim to goon over. You might be wondering what the hell is a schoolgirl doing at a deserted site. Well, it turns out she is carrying dog food. That clue is enough for our boy to realize she is just here to feed the strays. Before things can take a darker turn, our boy finally decides to intervene. Hiding his hideous face under a handkerchief, he warns the goons to leave the lady alone. However, it's pretty obvious that these thugs aren't going to get scared off by some hobo living like a gutter rat. They even go so far as to wrap their arms around our boy, mockingly cozying up to him. But that is a huge mistake. They are about to witness something they could never expect in their wildest imaginations. A literal bald zombie with barely any flesh staring straight into their souls. One of them even screams out loud like a scared bitch, his face literally sweating bullets. Our boy gets into a fighting stance, swinging his bony arm, and threatens the creeps to get lost. Weak in the knees, the gooners stumble as they run for their lives, leaving behind the damsel in distress. However, looking at this fleshless man, she feels even more distress. Her fears only heighten when this scary sack of bones lunges at her, only to zip right past her. In reality, the boy is only after the dog food she dropped on the ground. He starts devouring it as if his survival depends on it, which, quite honestly, it does. Bro isn't just eating the food, he is literally inhaling it. Still, he doesn't forget his manners. He apologizes for startling the unsuspecting girl and politely asks if he can keep the kibble. Hearing this crackling sack of bones actually speak, the girl blitzes away like a bullet, her mind flashing red alerts at this Frankenstein-type shit. Well, our boy expects as much, and it honestly plays out in his favor. Now he doesn't need anyone's permission to finish off the rest of the food. To our surprise, the girl has more guts than that gooner gang ever could. She is still there, peeking from a safe distance and watching him eat. Analyzing the situation, she figures that for a human to still be breathing with a body devastated to this degree is scientifically impossible. Therefore, it isn't hard to deduce that he is a heart mutant. She is already familiar with the fact that heart mutants can possess all sorts of wacky abilities. Realizing that he just saved her, she feels indebted and walks back over to him. As a gesture of goodwill, she cautiously offers him a Subway sandwich, assuming he is starving. Naturally, the boy is clueless. This turn of events is totally unexpected. As he extends his hand to grab it, she apologizes for running away after getting scared of his appearance. Then again, you can't blame her. That's a very natural response for any human. Staring at the gifted meal, the boy realizes it's his first time ever receiving food from someone else. He is thrilled and immediately digs in. He's never had Subway before. He is only familiar with the wrappers he finds in the trash. That first bite literally makes him feel like he is in heaven. He can't believe such heavenly food exists in this world. He hasn't eaten something with ingredients this fresh in ages. Not only is she a 10 by 10 baddie in looks, but she is just as beautiful on the inside. Her nerves finally calm down, giving her the courage to ask his name. The boy introduces himself as Gio. She greets him warmly and shares her name too, Song Hiji. Driving the conversation forward, she asks him why he is living such a rough life out in the open. Gio reveals that he is being chased by people who want to experiment on him. As it turns out, there is a shady lab whose sole purpose is capturing heart mutants and running sick tests on them. That's exactly why Gio prefers living in a dump over being a lab rat. Hiji is visibly tense after digesting the harsh reality of his situation. She has only heard rumors about this on the news and didn't realize it is actually true. Gio doubles down, swearing that every word is true. He has been stuck in that lab for an entire decade, subjected to torture and all sorts of morbid experiments. They literally forced him to ingest poison or injected it directly into his veins. Just the thought of this poor boy enduring 10 years of torture makes Hiji feel sick to her stomach. Because Gio possesses the heart of resurrection, no matter how much misery they inflict, his body always regenerates, refusing to let him die. However, those constant experiments leave him permanently looking like a living corpse. Feeling deep pity for his situation, the girl decides to take him along with her. She grabs his hand and starts dragging him, only for his arm to completely detach from his body. Seeing the detached limb in her grip, Hiji is terrified, thinking she just ripped his arm off. The boy casually takes the hand back and snaps it right back into the socket like a Lego piece, assuring her it isn't her fault. It is pretty common for his limbs to fall off from time to time. A while later, Gio is seen rocking a baggy hoodie over his thin frame. Hiji has brought him some fresh clothes because his old rags definitely make him look like a hobo. She assures him that the clothes aren't anything special, just some budget-friendly stuff. Yet, for someone who hasn't known anything other than torture and pain, the soft fabric touching his zombified skin feels so insanely good, it is borderline euphoric. With the clothing situation handled, she pulls out her makeup kit and starts giving this bonehead a makeover. Looking at his newly refurbished face, he honestly doesn't look half bad. Although, Hiji does apologize if she messes up, admitting she has exactly zero experience doing makeup on bare bones. Our boy, however, is thoroughly satisfied. In fact, he is incredibly grateful for everything she is doing for him. Suddenly, her phone alarm rings, making her realize she is running late for her academy. In a hurry, she wishes him farewell and dashes off in the opposite direction. Before leaving, she asks him to take care of the dogs for her. Well, it looks like Gio might be falling in love. And since she entrusts him with the dogs, he is desperately hoping she visits again tomorrow. You see, our boy has never had the privilege of experiencing the compassion he deserves. Back in the day, those soulless scientists only saw him as nothing more than a test subject. Even after escaping the lab, anyone he meets just gets scared and runs in the opposite direction. But Hiji is different. Instead of running away or giving him looks of scorn, she is the only one who treats him with genuine kindness. He is also grateful for the little puppy that kept him around long enough to meet her. So, he decides to officially make the pup his companion and begins brainstorming a suitable name. He eventually settles on calling the dog Potato. With that settled, he once again starts drowning in sweet thoughts of Hiji. The delicious fresh taste of that Subway sandwich still lingers in his mouth, and the comfort of his new clothes continuously draws his mind back to her. To him, she is nothing less than an angel descending into his life. He is so excited that waiting for the next day feels like pure agony. However, his sweet train of thought is immediately derailed the moment reality hits him. Looking at his reflection in a puddle of water, he realizes he is asking for way too much at this point. He doesn't deserve any of this, and worse, he doesn't want to drag her into danger. With that heavy thought weighing on his mind, he proceeds to leave the dump, deciding to find a place where a monster like him truly belongs. He walks around all night until dawn cracks on the horizon. Gio finds himself passed out somewhere under a bridge. A rat trying to nibble on his bones wakes him up. Looking around, he realizes he collapsed the night before. He begins rummaging through his pockets and pulls out a handful of dog food he stashed yesterday. He might not have that Subway from yesterday, but that doesn't stop him from vividly imagining it while chewing on the stale kibble. As he forcefully convinces himself he is eating a premium sub, the dog food actually starts to taste a little bit like it. Out of nowhere, Potato barges onto the scene and scoops all the dog food right out of his hands, leaving him sulking in despair. Then, another realization strikes him. He left Potato and the other puppies behind, so what is the dog doing here? When he looks up, it all becomes clear. Not only Potato, but the entire gang of puppies, along with his gracious goddess Hiji, have arrived there looking for him. A while later, all the dogs get the tasty treats they deserve, while Hiji busies herself expressing her disappointment. She has spent the entire day running around trying to find him. The boy reminds her of the dangerous consequences of hanging out with him. Well, Hiji couldn't care less. She's just glad she finally found him, and Potato is equally thrilled to reunite with his friend. She brought a ton of different snacks for him to try and urges him to dig in. Figuring yesterday's Subway wasn't enough, she packed a whole buffet this time. She kicks things off by introducing him to cookies and milk. After dunking the milk into the cookies, she hands him the container. As expected, this is the first time our boy has ever seen such a delicacy. One thing is for damn sure, it looks incredible. Without further ado, he takes the first bite. A massive rush of dopamine overwhelms his nervous system, and tears of pure happiness involuntarily stream down his bony face. As if that sensory overload isn't enough, Hiji decides to have him try a Pepsi. Suddenly, Gio's bones begin to regenerate. Hiji is absolutely fascinated to see a few inches of fresh bone sprouting out from the bud. She is curious to know how many days it typically takes for him to fully recover. Gio reveals that it actually takes a few years, much to the girl's shock. However, that's only the case if he relies strictly on regular food as his main source of nourishment. There is another way to regenerate much faster, but he holds off on telling her because it's honestly pretty morbid. If he absorbs a massive amount of blood, he can accelerate his healing factor exponentially. Instead of explaining that, he lies, claiming that this alternative method only works in a controlled laboratory environment. Desperate to change the subject, he insists on getting back to eating. But Hiji is nosy and wants to learn more about the lab. She asks if they actually helped him heal there. Well, they did heal him, but only because they needed him alive for their twisted experiments. Furthermore, they are still actively hunting him down, meaning he is constantly on the run. The girl finally understands why he sneaked away without telling her. After all, he doesn't want her getting tangled up with such dangerous people. Being a bit naive, she suggests reporting his situation to the police, genuinely thinking it could save him. The boy quickly hits her with a cold reality check. If he walks into a precinct looking like a living corpse, they will instantly label him a monster and shoot him on the spot. Hiji, however, responds optimistically, revealing that her older sister is actually a police officer. To make the situation even better, her sister is a heart mutant herself. This comes as a massive surprise to our boy, though he is still highly hesitant to rely on outside help. The girl insists he trust her, assuring him that her sister is very much the benevolent type. Before heading home, they both shower the puppies with love and wave them goodbye for the time being. As they walk together, Gio reflects on his grim situation. He has been running for 3 years, and this is the first time anyone has ever extended a helping hand. It almost feels unreal, so much so that he seriously doubts he will ever achieve a life free of worries. A normal life where he doesn't have to constantly run and hide. His darkest doubts immediately manifest into reality when a speeding van intentionally runs him over, violently knocking him away. A bald bastard steps out of the vehicle and aggressively apprehends the girl, while his goons quickly rush in to capture our boy. Once they manage to pin Gio against a wall, the head honcho calling the shots finally steps out. The boss is feeling incredibly smug, having finally caught his runaway lab rat. For all the trouble the boy has caused, the boss swears to make him pay dearly. With their vans zooming down the road, they tie poor Gio to the back bumper with rope and drag him at high speeds across the unforgiving asphalt. Despite getting peeled alive like a literal potato, the boy is far more concerned about the girl. It is entirely his fault she got dragged into this mess in the first place. So, he absolutely has to do something to rescue her. But then again, he is completely powerless against these overwhelming opponents with a seemingly trash ability like his. Losing all hope, he silently begs for someone, literally anyone, to intervene. His prayers are soon answered by his furry friends. The entire pack of stray puppies is frantically chasing after the vans. Potato and the others begin gnawing at the tether dragging our boy, eventually managing to sever the stubborn rope. The van screeches to a halt, and all the thugs pour out to get the situation under control. Seeing the little mutts surrounding them, the goons don't feel threatened in the slightest. Wielding their weapons, they begin ruthlessly smashing the poor puppies left and right, leaving behind a gruesome, bloody mess. Watching his tiny friends fight and die on his behalf sparks a burning desperation in Gio to help them. But with his completely broken and defeated body, he can barely even crawl. Meanwhile, Potato lunges at one of the men, taking a bite so vicious that the thug starts to bleed. Seeing the crimson liquid hit the pavement, Gio realizes he can use it for his advantage. If he manages to absorb the blood that thug just spilled, the very least he can do is regenerate. Unfortunately, it looks like he is running out of time. Potato is gruesomely knocked completely out of commission. Seeing his best friend's lifeless body laying on the ground alongside the rest of the pack, something begins to shift within Gio. He recalls the grueling 10 years he spent in that lab, getting tortured in every way imaginable. And it wasn't just a one-off event, it was his daily routine. Even when he finally escaped that living hell, he didn't find any solace in the outside world either. He was treated like a monster, a walking plague that everyone avoided. Everyone avoided him, except for his little furry friends and Hiji. For the sake of the loyal friends he finally managed to surround himself with, and for the chance at living a normal human life, his primal desire to survive intensifies. The spilled blood begins to react to his sheer will, magnetically gravitating toward his shattered body. With a vortex of blood swirling around him, the boy who was once just a pathetic pile of bones regenerates completely into his true human form. He finally looks like a normal human being again, just like he did when he was a kid. His body has regenerated back to its peak former self. But at what cost? The devastating loss of his little friends. Let's not forget about those animal-abusing thugs, who are currently standing there utterly astonished after witnessing this bloody miracle. One of them snaps out of the shock and takes a wild swing at our boy, but the newly reborn Absolute Chad doesn't even flinch. He literally punches the bastard away without so much as looking in his direction. Not only does he land the punch, but the sheer strength behind the strike is so devastating that the goon is sent flying, violently crashing into the side of the van. Gio takes a moment to mourn his fallen friend. He gathers Potato into his warm embrace, quietly promising to avenge their deaths. Turning his lethal attention toward the remaining bastards, he demands these goons rattle off exactly where they took the girl. Or else, he literally has first-hand experience with the most painful torture techniques known to man. The scene cuts to an abandoned warehouse, where the earlier cars park their latest hostage. Hiji pulls the bag off her head and demands to know an explanation, but before she could even process anything, she stares in horror at the dozen thugs. All of a sudden, fear sets in, and she begins to wonder where she's even at. The warehouse is filled with discarded human corpses being slaughtered and experimented upon. One of the men grabs her by the hair, insulting her for being a loud kid. He wonders if she's such a loudmouth because she's got multiple lives to spare, but the good thing is that he only cares about the skeleton dude. The guy blames Hiji for helping one of their escaped test subjects. That's why he warns her not to get on their bad side, or else she'll be 6 feet under the ground. After all, in this warehouse, dead people don't mean a thing at all, so her life wouldn't matter. Suddenly, the boss gets a call from one of his men, and he demands to know the situation of their test subject. Bro gets to learn about the whole story on how the dogs sacrificed their own lives just to save the half-dead skeleton, and how that same skeleton regenerated into a full body. The boss has no idea what the hell these guys are even saying at this point, and tries to ask for information about the dog. Meanwhile, Hiji is slowly trying to decipher the meaning behind his responses. The verdict comes clear as the boss is informed of the skeleton's escape. He starts roaring at his smooth-brained underlings for messing up the only job they had. Bro smashes the phone in frustration, threatening to blow their brains out if they don't return with their prized test subject intact. Venting his frustration on the girl, he demands Hiji for an answer, forcing her to talk. This dude's anger is rivaling Gordon Ramsay when he sees something raw. While he's rambling about, Hiji has zero clue on what this guy is talking about. The boss thinks she's purposefully playing dumb and decides to whip out his knife, threatening to stab her if she doesn't talk. The terrified schoolgirl trembles upon the realization that she made a big mistake by threatening her own life. She cries, thinking that this is the end of the road for her. Just as the punk is about to kill her, one of his goons is sent flying into the warehouse, catching everyone's attention. The focus intensifies on one man, no weapons, just raw hands. The boss doesn't get who this kid is, while our emo protagonist is doing his cliché emo pose, probably unable to see anything with that hair. One of the goons tries to confront him, calling the kid a beggar, but Gio can't tolerate that mad disrespect on his drip and catches the fool by the throat. With just his bare grip, Bro is capable of crushing the guy's throat. The current him is on a bloodlust streak, chillingly reminding them that it's because of these fuckers that Potato and the other dogs died. The other idiots decide to jump our boy Jujutsu Kaisen style. The first dude even manages to land a proper hit on him, but it doesn't do any damage at all. Gio retaliates with a bashful counter, obliterating this dude's face from a single hit. Another guy flanks him from behind, grabbing him by the collar, allowing his buddy to start elbowing Gio to the face. Sure, these hits are brutal, but this man's icy glare is all you need to know about who's in control. The mutant flips the guy over, displaying monstrous strength while the rest of them stare in shock. Gio addresses these insects, knowing that they were all hired by the Hermes research facility. The name stuns Hiji, and it makes her instantly realize that this kid is actually the same clumsy skeleton. The fuckface of a boss decides to grab her by the hair again, shocked by his own realization. They couldn't track him down all this time because of his regeneration differences, but now that they're clear on his identity, Gio literally gets fucking shot. Bro pulled out his American-style Glock no jutsu to kill the Immortal kid. The boss signals every single one of his men to tap into their American spirits. And with that spirit, those who are watching must also bang that like button. The shots are fired from every single direction, obliterating Gio's body, pouring down like hellfire. Their goal is to shoot him to the point his regeneration isn't enough, and that he'll be left incapacitated. The heavy rainfire doesn't stop. In fact, Gio only suffers extreme punishment from each piercing wound. He can feel his very own flesh ripping apart, bones severing and shattering, lungs ruptured, causing difficulty in basic breathing. Watching him get tortured and mauled like that reduces Hiji to tears as she begs these merciless men to just stop. Our boy ends up on the ground, completely defeated from the previous shots with blood leaking from every direction. Parts of his body are straight up gone from how many times he was just shot. But even as he leaked all that blood, Gio decides to use one of his abilities to manipulate the blood of the corpses and draw them in. His mutant heart spirals its activation, and the boss's goons have already noticed this too. Gio's blood manipulation brings him the reverse curse technique to heal his body. If you know, you know. Bro's got infinite healing, so the boss orders his idiots to start shooting again before he gets too strong. Gio suffers a critical headshot after headshot, several times, feeling the exact painful sensation like he always does. Every time he's torn apart, his body recovers over and over. A loop of pain, but to his own surprise, the pain hurts little each time. This is nothing compared to the 10 years of obliteration and torture he faced at the hands of the lab. He was even burned alive, squashed by a hydraulic press. Gio suffered every kind of painful experiment there had to be. Those experiments hurt him infinitely more, so he retaliates with a bone-smashing right hook, taking the first guy's face off with his punch. The bullets don't affect him as much anymore, because he's used to them. Before the other fools could even react, Gio is already up on their faces, dog-walking them like Maki did when she took out the Zenin clan. After sending one dude crashing into the barrels, he knocks down another and then 3 more at the same time, bolting full speed. Every time he remembers Potato's innocent little face, he becomes John Wick and slaughters everyone in his path. Those dogs were mere children to him, and they died protecting him. The boss, now terrified for his own life, threatens to shoot the girl if Gio comes any closer, but our boy's straight up speed blitzing and decks a heavy punch in his mouth. The hit is nasty and pulverizes the leader into a container, knocking his ass down. The same boss is still alive, but not for long as he begins pleading for mercy at the edge of his life. The game is over because Gio isn't going to forgive the way these fuckers took away his dog. He blasts the guy's face into the ground, squashing his face with more and more hits. It becomes a literal bloodbath with our boy rocketing dozens of punches until the guy turns into a swollen pulp. With his rage subsided, Gio stops, his fist dripping in blood as every single member in the warehouse has been brought down. The fight is over, so he walks up to Hiji, who is shivering in fear that he'll hurt her too. Being the angel she is, she asks if he's okay after being so wounded, but all he does is melt in her embrace, weeping at the comfort of her being alive. Poor guy has been having it rough and feels massive guilt that the dogs threw away their lives for him. He was terrified that she might have met the same fate, and seeing her alive means everything to him. It's a heartwarming scene as Hiji comforts him with the hug, stating that she should be the one to thank him for saving her life. A while after the whole shit show, police officers came to arrest the culprits responsible, as well as uncover the situation of the corpses in the warehouse. Their verdict is that there was some kind of internal organizational conflict. While they're spurring about, Gio and his baddie are out spying on the situation. Hieji's older sister doesn't think it's a good idea for them to get involved, especially if there's a mutant person, and she even vowed to handle the situation on her own. For now, our duo just needed to focus on leaving. The girl starts going crazy, but Gio is alongside her. They've brought all the bodies of the dog gang. Rest in peace to these fallen comrades, Baduk, Siru, Tatengu, Choco, Bayal, and Maru. The schoolgirl blames herself, believing that it's because of her involvement that they were hurt. She couldn't help them or look after them. All she did was give food to them. Her tiny contribution must have felt like everything to these dogs, and they threw up their entire lives to save them. But Gio comes along biting his own finger, refusing to let Hiji eat the blame, expressing that it's because of the blood he drew from them that caused them to die. She turns to him confused on what he's about to do, to which Gio explains that his whole shtick is healing with blood absorption. So if his blood is so special, then he wants to try and attempt sharing it with the dogs to bring them back as well. The cut from the finger starts to heal, so all of his blood is absorbed back, not allowing our boy a chance to help the dogs. He tries to bite his finger again, this time gnawing it so hard that it gushes out more blood. Hiji can't watch him torture himself like that, and begs the idiot to stop because the dogs would only feel worse. Unfortunately, the poor guy is at his wit's end. He's just devastated by the fact that the dogs would resent him. In reality, Hiji emphasizes the opposite. They actually really loved him. The same dogs did not trust ordinary humans, but they had a fond affection for the monstrous test subject. Of course, our boy didn't know that. Hiji explains that each of these dogs were previously abused, thus destroying their trust in humans. That's just one more thing for us to feel sad about. Why is someone cutting onions? Joe had no idea they were abused and treated them like they were always gentle, but Hiji teaches him that causing himself hurt would only make the little ones sadder. She's even proud that they had so much trust in him, proving that they felt familiar with his condition. A sad Gio ultimately accepts his fate, when all of a sudden, a cute little puppy winds its way to the duo. It's actually Potato's child, and oh my god, it is the cutest furball in the world. The tiny little thing finds itself drawn to Gio, before staring at him with intrigue and wagging its tail. Instead of hating him like Gio anticipated, the puppy actually shows fondness and affection by licking his hands. This cute baby actually ends up sleeping right next to Gio's comfort, confirming that the pups all like him. With the little one out cold, Hiji wonders what they should even do at this point. It's not like they can leave a newborn pup behind all alone. She entertains the idea of taking it home, but Gio's case is still an issue, as he got mistreated by an organization actively hunting him down. Hiji runs off to make an immediate call to her big sister, and then she explains to her about what they did. Our boy is dead lost on what's going on, but in the next scene, we arrive at our next destination. Our boy hasn't seen a room this luxurious and huge before. In fact, he still thinks he's walking on eggshells and formally asks if he should come inside. Hiji reminds him that this is the same dumbass who protected her, so she's the one with a debt to owe. Then there's the fact that her older sister wants to meet the heart mutant. In fact, Hiji's sister is investigating a case that is connected to the Hermes facility. The first time our boy glances in the mirror, he literally screams into his own reflection. Bro can't even believe that he got prettier and finally has a proper body. All this time he was under the impression that he didn't heal fully. Ever since he was a little boy, his face never regenerated fully, so he had no idea. Even at the lab, the regeneration was slow, and each time he regenerated is also the same time he got experimented upon. It's his first time actually experiencing his proper appearance, and the more Hiji listens to him, the more she realizes Bro's story is cooked. But more than that, something else has been bothering her as of late. She is curious to know what she should call him now that he's regenerated and doesn't look so old. Guessing his own age, Gio forgets how long it's been. The boy entered the lab at age 7, and he took the annual test 7 whole times. Then he flunked 3 full seasons, meaning he's currently sitting at around 17, which makes Hiji spurt her drink out. She can't even believe that Bro is the same age as her, and all this time he didn't even say a word when she was treating him like a senior. Pookie Joe blushes and expresses that he just liked being seen and didn't care much at all. Watching this side of him, she really finds him adorable and asks them to speak on casual terms. It's dinner time, so she asks him to wash up. Soon the puppy is digging in, and so is our boy. The meal is delicious, even though it's simple. Hiji even explains that she's a terrible cook, but she's happy that he's loving everything she serves. Gio is ecstatic that he gets to eat premium food after years of enslavement, while Hiji apologizes on her sister's behalf, who apparently can't come home today because of work. Dinner is wrapped up with the whole fleet of meals finished. She asks him to sleep on the couch for the night. Gio doesn't even treat it like an insult and prefers sleeping on the floor, but she urges him to use a blanket and do whatever he wants. Hiji heads out, emphasizing that she's got homework to wrap up in her room, so he's gonna have to sleep first. The lights are put out, leaving our boy alone as he watches his reflection on a modern TV. He finds flowers everywhere in the house, unlike the cold environment of the lab, and then there's the extremely soft sofa he's sitting on. The puppy digs its meal before ending up throwing up. Panicking, our boy comes to its rescue as the baby vomits. It lets out a burp before resuming its eating session again, much to our boy's confusion. All of that was just a huge scare from this furball, who probably doesn't even know that he exists. Gio is happy that it's nothing serious, and ends up sleeping on the sofa, finding extreme delight in the soft texture. To make things sweeter, his tiny pup is sleeping with him too. At this point, Gio wonders what he should name the little one. Because this is a Potato's child, he comes up with several names like Potato Fry, and settles on calling him Fritter. He watches the munchkin disappear into sleep, experiencing true happiness and delight. Today, he had a delicious meal, a proper bath, and finally a loving sleep. I don't know about you guys, but this character kind of reminds me of Denji. But despite having all of those things, Gio is aware of the cold reality that everything that has been given to him can be taken away. He remembers the horrific memories in the lab, how the test subjects were all making a run for it, while the facility unit mobilized to neutralize them. One sudden explosion sent the subjects flying, smashing debris on most of them. This put them in a position where they could not escape, while Master Chief over here brought out his big dick flamethrower and ran it down on them. To the unit's surprise, one girl manifested her ice powers to protect everyone, urging Gio to reclaim his senses. At that moment, a kid who was injected with Hashirama Senju's cells activated wood-style jutsu and freed our boy. The girl told Gio to take his hand and led him towards the exit. He felt guided and ended up escaping the dangerous lab. All of that amounted to nothing as they were separated in the end, and while he's experiencing comfort, his friends are in danger. This is the reason Gio doesn't want a repeat of his past. He refuses to let this peace be tormented or threatened. Anyone who comes in his way will be met with their demise, regardless of who they are. The following day, we find our boy dashing for his life to save stupid old Fritter, who suddenly disappeared to God knows where. Gio was talking all that edgy smack, but the moment his puppy disappeared, he turned into a crybaby. Let's go back a few moments. Hiji is off to school and wants him to look after the house until Big Sis arrives. She bids him off while he's left wondering what the school life is like. Fritter is anxious and scratching the door for some reason. Both of them are confused if it's hurt or just bored. It's here when our boy decided to have the excellent idea of taking the pup for a walk, but Hiji thought it was risky on his part. Bro was chilling with his new face and didn't have anything to fear, while the girl felt okay with his reasoning. She urged him to take the leash if he's going to take the pup out, and even shared the house password for easy access. Moments later, Bro was out here struggling for his life trying to tame the puppy with the leash. The naughty little French fry felt constrained and wanted to take it off. It was really pissed, which made Gio wonder if he wrapped it too tightly. Bro was having traumatic memories of the time he was personally constrained to an electric chair, shocked and burned to no end. But this is the safest path to ensure that the tiny French fry doesn't go out attacking other people's legs. While this man is trying to come to terms with his actions, Bro suddenly realizes Fritter is already gone. Reality shatters because the intelligent little pup already broke free and escaped. And that brings us to the current moment, where this man is bolting for his life with tears spilling out from every orifice. He dashes through the streets, looking for an answer in every dumpster or even underground. Despite his search, Gio just can't find an answer, not knowing where he should even look. He's anxious for the little one's condition, and already has terrible thoughts of the tiny one being caught up in an accident or some other messed up situation. Bro's reaction is very normal. Gio had only just promised to protect him, and he already lost the pup the next day. At that point, he suddenly realizes something. He found himself at the school, and just up front is the stupid little puppy cleaning itself. Making haste, Gio realizes that the puppy must have used Hyeji's scent to track her down. But while these two are having a moment, the PT teacher notices the kid dashing with intense speeds. Gio doesn't even care and invades school grounds, the same place as where a football match is being played. He hides behind a tree, reflecting on the entertaining school life, even overhearing a conversation of a bunch of students talking about heart mutants. It's already in the news that the facility is willing to pay a whopping $1 billion for the recovery of a specific mutant. Watching these guys care only about the money and treat heart mutants as outsiders is enough for Gio to understand the normal person's perspective. He realizes that he's in danger being around these guys and hunts for Fritter, locating him at the back. Some wannabe TikToker girls are making trends and acting like they're the baddest bitches on the planet. Suddenly, the real bad bitch, also known as the half-feet French fry, walks into the club and steals their attention. They're swooning over him and taking pictures to flex the puppy, when suddenly our boy's gloomy figure comes into the frame, scaring the ever-living crap out of them. The girls think he's creepy, calling him a pervert while Gio doesn't know what to do. He apologizes with a flustered face, earning the affection of the girls. They assume that he might be some kind of freshman for his clothes, even a transfer student. But he apologizes for interrupting a recording. Hilariously, the girls even offer him to join them, but he rejects that. The baddie among them asks for his Instagram. It's the first time Minjong's made an advance on a dude, so this is shocking. This same girl has 100,000 followers, so she's a bona fide influencer. Minjong actually wants to use this guy as engagement bait because he's cute, and she thinks she's so high and mighty that no one is going to ever refuse him. Except Gio refuses her, stating that he's got no interest, obliterating the bitch's ego in seconds. He lowers his head in an apology while Minjong and her friends process the shock of her getting rejected, and I'm telling you, this girl is about to explode. Bro simply takes his dog, ignores her ramblings and cares only about Fritter's safety. At that moment, a red-haired punk comes along, questioning where this new guy came from. Taigu has the hots for Minjong, and his buddies all think that this shy kid is deliberately using his puppy to talk to her. He gets pissed, unable to accept that someone is preying on his meal, so Taigu grabs the ball and decides to slam it full speed to teach him a lesson. The ball makes contact and zooms straight towards our boy, who doesn't even know where it came from. Gio casually glances at it without moving, so the ball literally smashes his face with full recoil, shooting back up. The girls look over to check on him, realizing that Gio's bleeding all over the place. Acting all innocent and cute, Taigu pretends that it was all just an accident, while Minjong scolds him for nearly hitting her with it. What really pisses our boy off is not the fact that he got slammed in the face, but that his puppy over here nearly got hurt. The same puppy is looking like it will devour a leviathan right now. Taigu laughs. The big mouth tries to belittle our boy but suddenly realizes his crush is watching. So he diplomatically handles the situation, pretentiously acting like he cares about Gio's condition. Our boy simply lets this guy off with a warning because he threatened a pet's safety, but because Taigu apologized, he's okay with everything and walks away. Taigu could have let this situation go with how it was resolved, but this guy has stuck up his ass for some reason. Meanwhile, our boy is just happy he didn't lose his dear pup in the process, and thanks to today's adventure, he even got to see what school looks like. His only impression of it is that the environment looks fun, and he wonders if he too can enroll and make friends here. At that point, Taigu comes along, invading Gio's space and acting like he's here for another apology. To make it up to him, the punk offers to treat our boy with some bread, which is a strange offer to Gio, who thinks of the several sweet solutions. Bro is so naive and excited that he actually agrees to the offer, while Taigu even agrees to buy the pup some food too. But the second they turn around into a corner, this fucker backfoots Gio like a pussy. Now he has the kid where he wants him, alongside all of his goons, who all make fun of him for being dense. There are a dozen of them here, and their plan is to make the kid feast on some real fists. Taigu laughs along with his bully friends as they call Gio a weakling, mocking him for being so nice and stupid. Then he turns on Gio directly, asking why he's been acting clueless and pretending not to know what's going on. Our hero is genuinely confused and asks what Taigu is even talking about. He insists he hasn't been acting anywhere or putting on any kind of show because the boy genuinely doesn't know what he did wrong. That's when Taigu finally gets to the point. He demands to know why our hero has been hitting on his crush, Minjong. His voice gets louder, and he steps closer, threatening him, saying Gio looks like the kind of guy who would cry and crawl away after just one smack. He sneers and asks where this sudden fake bravado was coming from because right now he has nothing to say. Then the threats keep coming as Gio listens about how Taigu is going to mess him up. He swears it, but Gio is the epitome of a chill guy, as he just stands. Meanwhile, the rest of the bullies act like wannabe gangsters, circling the scene and laughing at the entire exchange. They tell Taigu not to take it so seriously on the new boy because he's scrawny enough that one solid kick might land him in the hospital. They even drag our hero's dog into the mockery, joking that bringing a dog to school must be some outdated trick to impress girls, calling it strange and cringe as hell. Still, none of it calms Taigu down. If anything, it feeds his anger. He continues berating our hero, pressing him with accusation after accusation. Gio, slowly realizing how foolish he has been, slaps his own forehead in disbelief. He had actually thought Taigu called him over to hang out. He had believed, for a brief and naive moment, that the invitation was genuine. Instead, it's just a setup for a pointless fight. Still, our hero knows better than Taigu and his hot-headed Metaltown bravado. He refuses to rise to the bait. Trying to keep his composure, he tells Taigu that if his presence is making him so uncomfortable, then he'll leave. He isn't ready for this kind of confrontation, and he refuses to play along with whatever twisted version of macho fight Taigu is trying to stage. Just as Gio is about to walk away, one of the bullies steps in front of him and blocks his path, sneering that he actually has the nerve to leave as if nothing has happened. This time, however, Gio's voice is firm. He tells the boy to move out of the way because he is frightening his precious puppy, Fritter. Even the little Fritter looks angry. Irritated, the bully raises his hand and tries to slap our hero across the face, calling Fritter a mutt, just like Gio, simply because the poor puppy dares to bark at him. But before his hand can even make contact, our hero moves. In the next second, his fist connects cleanly with the bully's face, sending him flying backward like a baseball hit straight out of the park. He lands hard on the ground, sprawled out and stunned. For a moment, everyone just stares. They are puzzled, almost offended by what they are seeing. Why is their so-called hunk lying on the floor, groaning in pain? Then the realization crashes over them all at once that this scrawny kid actually swings his arm and dares to hit their friend, and sends him flying. Angry, they charge at Gio, but what they do not understand is that Gio is not bloodthirsty, but he will never stop defending himself. Something fierce lights up inside him, and within seconds he is moving with startling speed. He lands punch after punch, and it's literally raining men in the alley. And through it all, Fritter remains safely tucked in our hero's arm, protected and surprisingly calm. Finally, our hero stands before Taigu. Just as he is about to strike him in the face, he redirects his punch at the last second and drives it into the wall beside him instead. The impact makes the wall crack loudly. Our hero lowers his fist and humbly tells Taigu that he had directly asked them to stop because they were scaring his little puppy. The sight of the cracked wall is enough. The remaining bullies pale and begin to back away before turning and running. Even the almighty Taigu, who only minutes ago was throwing a temper tantrum, now stands speechless. If a wall can crack like that, Then if Gio's punch had landed on him, his head would have been crushed like a piece of candy. The realization hits him hard that he has messed with the wrong person. Tears mix with snorts as he suddenly bows in front of our hero, apologizing over and over again. Desperate, he pulls out his phone and shows Gio a picture of his own puppy. He insists that he is not going to hit the dog, that he is also a dog owner and would never harm a precious little animal. He swipes through photos trying to show how cute his puppy is, using it as a bargaining chip for mercy. Our hero, as naive as a 7-year-old, looks at the pictures and thinks the dog is genuinely adorable. Since Taigu is also a dog owner, maybe he is not completely bad after all. Gio says nothing, but a different realization dawns on him. He has used more of his strength than he intends to, and now he is suddenly very hungry. He has not eaten anything today, and that emptiness is beginning to mess with him. Taigu, unable to understand this shift, assumes Gio is pretending to forgive them just to get some food out of the situation. Meanwhile, Hiji sits in her classroom, quietly studying, completely unaware that her new friend is out there causing chaos across the school grounds. For now, it is none of her concern. At the cafeteria, Taigu hurriedly leads our hero inside and buys him a pile of snacks. The moment Gio sees the food, his mouth starts to water, and even little Fritter perks up excitedly at the sight of so many treats. Taigu watches as our hero and Fritter devour the snacks, thinking our hero is crazy strong, but acting like a total loser. He mutters that no wonder he can't stand a guy like him. Just recently, with one punch, Gio literally sent someone flying. Taigu wonders if our hero might be some sort of boxer or athlete, but even if he were, cracking a wall like that is impossible. He's never seen anything like it in his life. Convinced he needs reinforcement, he picks up his phone and calls his brother, Young Chill, a 20-year-old gangster playing poker with his friends. He asks for help, explaining that he's screwed because he got beaten up by some random guy. Young Chill is not happy about helping Taigu beat up a random guy, but Taigu argues that Gio is seriously strong and literally begs him to save face this one time. Another gang member asks who he's talking about, and Young Chill makes fun of Taigu, but since they are bored, they agree to help. Young Chill tells him he will swing by later and that Taigu should bring our hero to them. Taigu ends the call, grinning and smirking, thinking he heard that Gio is now dead. But in the next moment, our hero comes up to him and offers some of his food, saying he felt lonely eating and wants to share. Taigu refuses, saying he brought everything for Gio, even offering more food. Gio then shares it with Fritter, making Taigu think, how is this loser so strong? He notices our hero's hand and realizes that when he punched the wall, his wrist was hurt, but now it's completely normal. He begins connecting the dots, remembering a video online about heart mutants who come in all shapes and sizes, making up less than 0.001% of the population but still incredibly strong in real life. Hidden, Taigu directly asks Gio if he is a heart mutant. Our hero spits out a coin on Twitter trying to deny it, but he's terrible at lying, painfully obvious. Taigu goes pale. He has never met a heart mutant before, and our hero seems like a normal person. Worried about how dangerous Gio might be, Taigu calls Young Chol again. When he informs him that Gio is a heart mutant, he cannot trust his luck. Everyone becomes alert. Taigu whispers calmly on the phone that it's dangerous and that they should cancel the meeting, but Young Chil refuses, saying it's an even better opportunity and that they will handle our hero properly. Taigu agrees, but our hero interrupts, saying he's done eating and Taigu should just go home. Taigu tries to argue that since much of lunch break is still left, they should do something, skip class and hang out. He takes Gio to the arcade. Seeing the shiny games and floors, Gio cannot contain his excitement. Even Taigu is confused. It's Gio's first time at an arcade, and he shyly admits he has never known places like this exist. Everything amazes him. Even a simple claw machine looks like the seventh wonder of the world. Gio notices that the machine has the same Labubus doll he saw on Hiji's handbag earlier. Taigu is confused. If Gio doesn't even know about Labubus, what has he been doing with his life? Taigu offers to put in money so our hero can try, but our hero is bad at the claw game, so Taigu goes ahead and wins the Labubus. Gio is ecstatic. Now he has the same doll as Hiji. What he doesn't realize is that Taigu is subtly working behind him, keeping him occupied until the gangsters arrive. Taigu suggests they go into a karaoke room. He tells our hero to select a song and sing. Gio says he doesn't know any song, but Taigu insists there must be something he knows. Gio begins to sing the only song he knows, a nursery rhyme, but with such passion that it's almost adorable. Taigu cannot believe a grown man is singing a children's song and wonders if our hero is acting. Gio explains it's literally the only song he knows, taught by his mom before they were separated when he was 7. Since then, he hasn't lived a normal life and doesn't know pop culture. Taigu feels sad hearing this, realizing Gio couldn't live a normal life and suspects something deeper is going on. He becomes emotional and offers money, saying that since our hero could not live a normal life, he will teach him how to live like a teenager. They hit different games, play drums, video games, and even dance. As expected, our hero is bad at everything. After a while, they leave the arcade, Taigu breathing hard from the excessive fun. He confesses he's never had this much fun in his life. He checks his phone and sees a call from his brother, young Cheol, realizing time has passed and he forgot the task he was given. He looks at the photo booth pictures with Geo and Fritter, thinking he's an idiot for taking them with the enemy, but Geo's naivety shifts something in his heart. He goes to the alleyway alone, not bringing our hero as promised. He apologizes to young Cheol, saying he was mistaken and that our hero is not actually a mutant. The gangsters are annoyed, saying he wasted their time, but Taigu is persistent. Deep down, he knows his actions are not just for the dog, but because of Geo and his personality. He has asked Geo if the dog was his only family, and he realized it is. Taigu feels sorry but understands that his own puppy is his life, and he would do anything for him. He confesses that earlier, when friends tried to mess with Fritter, he almost got angry too. It's not just about the puppy, it's about our hero and his relationship with his dog. While Taigu is standing there, a fist flies toward his face, knocking him to the ground. Suddenly, young Cheol lifts him by the head, asking about the whereabouts of the mutant, and this time, young Cheol doesn't look like Taigu's brother. Young Cheol asks Taigu if he thinks he is joking, but all Taigu can think about is the precious memory he recently made with Geo. Young Cheol continues to berate him, saying that everyone has gathered over there to catch a mutant, and they are not going to leave until they have a mutant in custody. He tells Taigu to start talking if he wants to save face. Taigu is persistent, insisting it was really a misunderstanding. He explains that he spent all day with our hero, and if Geo were truly a heart mutant, he would have sensed something off, but there was nothing at all. Our hero is just a loser who can't even score well at the arcade and gets out of breath playing soccer. Taigu tries to smile as a kind gesture, admitting he mistakenly wasted young Cheol's time, but young Cheol is not pleased. Young Cheol then hugs Taigu, apologizing and asking if he's upset that he yelled at and hit him. Before Taigu can reply, young Cheol points out that it's written all over his face that he's lying and demands to know why he changed his story at the last minute. Young Cheol continues, saying that the mutant is not what Taigu thinks. They don't look scary, but they are not like humans. They are dangerous, capable of making the world a very hazardous place. Taigu should just reveal the truth so they can all walk away. Young Cheol even argues that if Taigu is worried about them and they could lose at the hands of a mutant, then he shouldn't act recklessly. Taigu refuses again like a stubborn bastard. Before he can say anything else, young Cheol says that $500 is the reward for turning over the mutant to the boss, which he thinks is quite generous. Young Cheol explains that if Taigu delivers the mutant, he will get the reward as well. He reveals that he has already lined up a broker who handles heart mutants, and that it will be handled without any loose ends. Taigu realizes this is human trafficking. Recently, kidnappers have been targeting heart mutants across the country, and rumors claim that government research facilities buy them for money. He had thought it was just gossip, but now he sees it with his own eyes. He cannot let it happen, so he apologizes again, insisting Geo is just a normal guy. Before he can finish, young Cheol kicks him, sending him flying. The blow hurts his lungs, making it hard to breathe. Young Cheol starts beating him with his feet, stomping on his head again and again, crushing him, forcing him to speak. Taigu's legs go straight, and the pain takes him straight to a flashback. Some time ago, Taigu was being beaten by bullies just like this, until a loud voice shouted for them to stop. It was young Cheol with his friends. Back then, they weren't gangsters, and they stopped Taigu from being beaten to death. Taigu, a little kid, was happy to be saved but felt humiliated. Young Cheol comforted him, saying they are in the same gym, and he will protect Taigu from getting beaten by these guys. Back then, young Cheol seemed loyal, kind of cool, and not much of a fighter, so Taigu wanted to be just like him. But now, his own mentor and friends are hitting him repeatedly until he is a pulp on the ground. Young Cheol remains insistent, claiming Taigu is lying to their faces. He comments that Taigu has loyalty, which is kind of badass, but it is misplaced. It should belong to him. He warns that if Taigu is thinking about selling the mutant to another broker, he might get 200 or 300 at most, but he will be directly in danger. He signals his gangsters to bring in a chain, wraps it around his hand, and says he will show Taigu how to live like a gangster. This time, Taigu does not hold back, saying they are completely uncool. Young Cheol almost stops breathing, shocked. Even Taigu is confused why he is instigating young Cheol. The angered young Cheol prepares to strike as Taigu tries apologizing repeatedly, insisting he misspoke. But just as young Cheol is about to hit him, a strong hand stops him. It's our hero. He says that if young Cheol hits someone with chains wrapped around his hand, it will cause massive injury. Everyone is confused because how dare this weird kid stop their boss? Even Taigu is stunned, wondering how the hell our hero even found out where they were. Geo crouches down, saying that he came to look for Taigu because he was taking too long to arrive. Taigu tries to warn him to run, and confesses that he was the one who called them to beat him, even telling them that our hero was a heart mutant. Geo is confused and asks why he would do that. Taigu replies that he was just pissed because Geo hit him, that he wanted revenge, and he apologizes. But our hero does not care about that. Geo asks why he is letting them hit him with chains. Everyone is confused when someone swings a baseball bat at Geo, angering him. In the next second, all the thugs start hitting him with their bats while Fritter barks and Taigu tries to protect our hero. One of the guys crouches down, asking how he even interrupted them, but in the next second, Taigu absorbs all the blood and punches the thug, sending him flying. Everyone watches as Geo rises from the wreckage and Yangcheol orders all of his gang members to attack. Our hero is relentless, striking them in the face, chest, legs, and groin, even taking a few hits and punching back 10,000 times stronger. Everyone is confused, wondering how he can even be human because of the way he fights. Young Cheol takes matters into his own hands and rushes to stab him, mocking him for being stabbed in the heart. He whispers as he repeatedly stabs, expecting Geo to die, but Geo catches the dagger in his hand to stop him. Seeing that our hero is still standing, Young Cheol grows a little scared, thinking what kind of heart can be stabbed and remain unharmed. Our hero knows the answer, but says he doesn't need to reveal that secret. He then stabs Young Cheol in the leg, causing immense pain. Meanwhile, all the thugs flee, thinking they are no match for a mutant, but Geo is not ready to let it go. Now that they know he is a mutant, none of them get to run. He beats them all into a pulp. Once he is done, Taigu, also brutally beaten, crawls toward him, saying he will call an ambulance. Geo reassures him that he is fine. Taigu is confused, thinking about how our hero got stabbed, and apologizes once again. He raises his fist and hits himself repeatedly, cursing himself for his mistake, admitting that he was ready to sell his friend for just some cool points. He confesses that he used to hang out with those guys all the time, and back then, everything seemed okay somehow. He thought that was what being cool looked like. But now he realizes that all these men were dangerous, and he shouldn't have been in bad company. Suddenly, Geo hands Taigu a cloth to wipe his nosebleed. It's actually a puppy pee pad, but Taigu doesn't care and uses it anyway. He mutters that someone like him doesn't even deserve to be called a friend. Our hero just smiles, saying he's glad Taigu thinks of himself as a friend, and that is enough for him. Hearing this, Geo once again touches Taigu's heart, and Taigu in turn embraces him. It's clear to Taigu that our hero is really the cool guy in all of this.